Hi, this is Tosh Asaka. I'm the film director. This is talks about the Gorin no show made by Miyamoto Musashi. And in this video, I'd like to introduce the Chi, the scroll of Chi, the scroll of Earth, chapter 1. In this chapter, he talks about the heiho for samurai comparing to the other jobs, such as farmer or the literature or doctor, musicians, and he talks about what the way. In Japanese we all say way or michi, do, like Buddha, way of the warrior. So he talks about what's the way and what's the attitude when you start training the heiho for as samurai. Okay. Okay, let's go to the Gorin no show.
Learing Heiho, the combat skills, is the most important principle for all samurai. All the commanders of samurai must understand the heiho, and all samurai must train the heiho. However, most samurai are not training this way of heiho seriously today. In this world, these are the existing lifeways of the different jobs and arts. The way of Buddhism helps people. The way of Confucianism is studying literature. The way of the doctor is to save people's life. The way of poet is to teach the tanka poem to the people. The way of the musicians is to entertain the people. The way of the archers, there are many ways for people to spend their life to reach the best, to enlighten their lives and help society. In those ways, many people participate seriously to master their ways. However, there are only few samurai who participate seriously like in other ways. First of all, samurai must practice literature and military, martial arts. Even if you are not good at literary or martial arts, you must practice both. Face and find out what is your best field, understand your maximum skills and availability, then train your martial arts in your best way. When you think about what is the life of samurai, many people think that how to die is the life of samurai, because the goal of learning combat skills is both to kill your enemy or get killed by your enemy. So, facing your death is the way of samurai? Or heiho? When you talk about facing death, it is not the truth that applies to samurai, but it applies to all other ways. Any jobs that people are proud of are the same. People have their proud of their job and work with their social duties, and they are honest until their death. In that way, the way of samurai and the ways of the other people, such as monks, women or farmers, are the same. The fundamental in the heiho for samurai is to be better than the other samurai on the battlefields. Winning the other samurai in a one-by-one combat situations, or winning and surviving in multi-person combat situations. So, the training of heiho will help you win the battle for your lord and win distinction. Sometimes even if you train your heiho so hard, as long as you don't experience the real battle, you will be very worried about what you have learned from heiho. In that case, you have to always think about how you can use your heiho in the real fighting when you train, and teach all the advantages that apply to whatever the situation is. This is the true way of learning heiho.
Okay, let's go. The first line. It said, learning heiho, the combat skills, is the most important principle for all samurai. This is the very simple. Musashi said, learning heiho, a combat skill, or today we just say kenjutsu or some other budo, is the most important things for samurai to study or participate. And he also said, when you say samurai, no matter what rank, it could be commander or it could be just one of the soldier, both of them still need to study heiho. And he said that it's very important for all samurai to study heiho. And also another thing about important in Japanese said, Buke no ho, which means the law of samurai. And when, of course, the law of samurai in the first meaning is like I said, all samurai must study heiho. But also here, law is actually the law made by the Tokugawa government in this time, the law from the shogun. And in that law, it says samurai must be modest, loyal, and faithful. So just to watch yourself, for any action. You have to be proud. You have to be, nice and honor to be samurai. That's a law. That's a law. The first line of the law, given by the Tokugawa government, and it's also very interesting about in this law. It says samurai should not drink too much. You can drink, but don't drink too much or don't get drunk. That's not really good attitude for samurai. You don't want all the people to know about samurai getting drunk and just do something messy. And the law of the government said, as law of the samurai by Tokugawa government said, so when you drink, don't drink too much. That's kind of interesting. So, however, he was kind of, in this line, he was kind of made some irony that, that's become the law of samurai. But the Musashi was saying here is, that's not the way. Law of samurai is just the attitude that all samurai must practice heiho. That's the Musashi means, and not what the government say. It's different because Musashi joined many battles before the Tokugawa government. So Tokugawa government made a law of samurai, not to be so strong, so they can go rebel against the shogunate. So that's why he's saying here, just come back. What the samurai is, it's being a strong warrior. So that's why he put this one in the first line. Next line. All the commanders of samurai must understand the heiho, and all samurai must train heiho too. And again, I already talked about it. Here he strongly mentioned that, for the heiho, it's not just a strategy skills, just only generals or the commanders understand, What he's talking about here is even commanders, they must understand what the basic combat skill in the field, which means like a fighting skill in a battlefield. So even you are the higher rank samurai, you still understand what the basic the heiho is. And of course, all the other samurai must practice the heiho too. That's this line here. Next line. However, most samurai are not training this way of heiho seriously today. Then he said he was kind of disappointed about, well, that attitude has to be the way of samurai, law of samurai. However, he was kind of disappointed about all samurai in that time was not really participating well or seriously to the heiho. And I think when he said about the samurai, in fact he also meant that samurai dojo as well. So he was kind of worried, disappointed about not just the samurai individually, but all those dojo where they teach the heiho are not really understanding this basic concept of what the heiho is and why they have to be serious. Why? Because they are samurai. He was kind of disappointed about now those dojo become just like a school or like just to teach some basic skill without some basic the philosophy of the combat, and they just become like not the sensei but teacher. They just teach the just whatever the book said. So he was also worried about that, and he was kind of make irony there. Next one. In this world, there are existing lifeways, of different jobs and arts. The way of the Buddhism helps the people. The way of the Confucianism is studying literature. The way of the doctor is to save the people's life. The way of the poet to teach the tanka poem to the people. the way of the musicians to entertain the people. With archers, and there are many other way for the people to spend their life to reach the best, enlighten their lives, and help the society. In these ways, many people participate seriously to master their way. So he's talking about the way, michi or do, like Buddha or Heiho no michi. It's not just applied to the samurai. He's saying that samurai is not the one who has to be serious about their job. Everybody else, Buddhist monk, doctors, musicians, or any other people, even carpenters, farmers, they are serious. So he's talking about don't make yourself special. Everybody is the same. It's the same. They stay on the same way. So that's the line he wanted to say here. And also, Musashi, because Musashi stay in that way, I think he also wanted to talk, if you, like Musashi was not just famous for his fighting combat, but also he was very famous artist too. So he was saying, if you understand how to study by yourself about Heiho, that's also applied to anything else, like art. So it's all the same. So even though if you understand how to study by yourself, that's applied to everything else. So it's very important to be serious to train Heiho and to train how to study or how to learn some skills by yourself. Then Musashi said in the end of in the paragraph, even if all the others, including your farmers, everybody else is very serious about it, he is also disappointed about why samurai is not serious about the Heiho. Be serious. That's at the end of this paragraph that Musashi said. So he was very, very disappointed about everybody else is very serious about their ways, but only samurais are not really serious in Musashi's view. So he was very, very disappointed. Okay, next line. First of all, samurai must participate literary and military arts. Even if you are not good at literature or martial arts, you must participate both. Then, face and find out what you are best in the field, understanding your maximum skills and availability, then train your martial arts in your best way. So here Musashi said, if you're a samurai, learning just a combat skill is not enough. You have to also study yourself, be smart, because I think what the Musashi means is thinking. Thinking is very important, and thinking is not, the way of thinking is not you can get it by just practicing martial arts or combat skill or Heiho. But you have to also study books or everything else to be smart, so you can create more. You can think about more deeply. That's why he said it's very important for all samurai studying both combat skill and study some literature or science. And also after that line he said, when you study, find out what is the best field for you, Of course everybody's body structure is very different. So I'm tall, Musashi was tall, but not everybody is tall. If everybody is tall, nobody say I'm tall. Some people are small, some people are big, muscular, or some people are small and it's not really muscular. So everybody is different. So Musashi is saying that when you practice, you have to practice everything, but also try to find out what is the best for you. And if you find out the best, get better in the best field when you practice everything else. So you have to really understand yourself, when you train. That's why he said that's also very important. So training Heiho is not just learning everything else written in the book, but also find out what yourself, what is the best, what is a good advantage for your body. Think about that and find out the best way of fighting skill. For the fighting skill. That's Musashi said here. Also, not just to find the best way, he also understands that some people are very weak or very, in some field, If you are not good with the katana fights, then try to find out something else like spear or jujutsu. So, if you are not tall, then you figure out how you can, fight with with your sword when the height is very short. Or, if you can't move fast, then you have to think something else. So he's saying he understands that everybody else is different. To fight and understand your weakness and understand the advantage, and both train well and find out the best way of the fighting in your heiho. That's the way of training heiho. That's Musashi said here. Next line. When you think about what is the best life of samurai, when you think about what is the life of samurai, many people think that how to die is the life of samurai. Because the goal of learning combat skills is both to kill your enemy or get killed by your enemy. So samurai is always facing their death, and facing your death is the way of samurai or heiho. So, keep going. When you talk about the facing death, it is not the truth that applies to samurai, but it applies to all of the way. Any jobs and people are proud of any job that people are proud of are the same. People have their proud of their jobs and works with their social duty, and they are honest until they die. In that way, the way of samurai and other way are the way of the other people, such as monks, women, or farmers, are the same. In this line, Musashi said, the life of samurai always ready to die. That's the way of samurai's life, and also that's commonly known as to the other people. So, however, he said that it's not just for samurai. Anybody who have a job and they are proud of it, are the same, because they are making a living with it. So it's not just if they are ready to die, it's not just applied to samurai, everybody else. So it's very important, just don't make yourself special, everybody is the same. That's what the Musashi wanted to say here. That's why he mentioned about all the carpenters or everybody else is the same, because they're proud of it. When they lose the faith, they might lose the job. When losing the jobs means that they will die, because they can't make a living. So it's the same. So it's not just the samurai things about facing death. Everybody is the same. It's very important. There's an important and interesting line here. And he talks about when it's the same, when it's everybody. He said about the monks, women, or farmers. So, he's saying, monks, even though they serve to the gods, or women, they're not even considered as samurai, or farmers, they're not even warriors. But he said it's the same. So this is the time when time in Japan when only men has a right as a civilians, and women didn't have a right. They can be hired as official jobs of working for the governors. They can succeed in the family lines. Women didn't have any rights in that time. However, Musashi said men and women is the same. And also he said samurai and farmer is the same. So which means, he said everybody is equal, no matter what job you are, no matter what the gender you are, it's the same. That's a reality. And Musashi strongly mentioned that there, so that it's equal, you know, especially in the battlefield. Does it really matter if the enemy or women or men, or if you're involved in any battle or war? Is it really matter if you're women or men? No, he said in reality it's the same. Opportunity is the same. You know, opportunity to get killed is the same. So don't make any excuse, you know. That's Musashi said here. And it's very interesting, you know, that's still applied today, you know. So Musashi wrote this Gorin no show about 400 years ago, and still applied to this modern world, this current world. So that's, you can see, you know, how Musashi was a realist, you know. And when he said, in the beginning, he said he won because he understands the law of the nature, which means this is the law of the nature which does not change anywhere, anytime. So that's the very interesting line here. Okay, the next line. The fundamental in the Heiho for samurai is to be better than the other samurai on the battlefield, winning the other samurai in one-by-one combat situation, or winning or surviving in a multi-person combat situation. So samurai here, so Musashi said here, you know, it's the only reason that samurai study Heiho, you know, train Heiho, is to win, to survive the battlefield. And to do that, you have to run both one-by-one situation, and also, you know, you have to learn how to win or survive in the multi-person's battlefield. So that's very important. That's the only reason you study, you know, learn Heiho. The next line. So the training Heiho will help you win the battle for your lord, and win the distinction. So, and why you want to be a strong samurai? It's also very simple. You know, first fight for your lord, get better job. You know, to do that, those Heiho skills help your success. So it's simple. You know, it's very, very simple here. That's the only reason you study Heiho. You know, again, this is another irony here, because in the time of Musashi, when he wrote the Gorin no show, is already the peace war. So many dojo lost the concept, and they talk about you know, philosophy or logic, or you know, you have to train your soul to make your soul better or spirit stronger. So they make any other reason, you know, to be a better samurai. But Musashi said, no, to be a good samurai is very simple. Don't make any religious reason or spiritual reason. Yeah, you want to be a better samurai because first of all, number one, you want to survive in the battlefield. And why? Because you want to get success. You want to let your lord win to get to get better job. That's the reason. So don't get any spiritual things in the Heiho. It's a simple. That's what he wanted to say here. And the next line, I think this is the last line. And sometimes even if you train your Heiho so hard, as long as you don't experience the real battle, you will be very worried about what you have learned from the Heiho. In that case, you have to always think about how you can use your Heiho in the real battlefield when you train, and teach all those advantages that apply to whatever the situation is. This is a true way of learning Heiho. So this is the last line of this chapter, and this is also very interesting. You know, he said, you know, no matter how hard you train your martial art, you still get worried about, is this going to work? Is this really work for their fighting situation? like I practice Aikido too, and in Aikido we don't have like a fighting practice or games or match, so I can use this temporarily in the fighting situation. So everybody is the same at the time. Everybody, it's normal that you always worry about, is this gonna really work? When you practice Heiho, you always worried about it. That's not, he said, that's normal, so don't worry about it. And what's the Musashi said? He said, when you feel that way, just train harder and think more. It's apply, any other different situation. Let's say you have playing cut this way, and you worried about, if you worried about this skill's gonna work, then think about many other situations to make it more practical. So that's he's saying here, and think about it and share the information, and not just in yourself. When you teach your skill to someone, you actually think more about it and you get more another opinion. So that's the real attitude. That's the real attitude of learning Heiho. So when you start practice Heiho, you have to be ready for that, and that is the attitude, So it's very also interesting, when the Musashi's what the Musashi said here it's still applied today, it's already 21st century, and the Musashi wrote this letter about 400 years ago, and still it's still the same. This is the Musashi's idea. This is what the Musashi said here as Gorin in Gorin as a realist, So his way of thinking about the human, and the samurai, psychologically it's applied today too. So it's very interesting. So in this chapter, he talks about your attitude, the mind when you study Buddha before you go there. That's why he put this in the beginning, introduction of the first chapter. So so this is very important in the thinking of Gorin no Sho. So from even this chapter, you can see how Musashi was a realist. So the tree and the scroll of the earth is not really interesting because he didn't even go talk about the actual skills, combat skills or techniques, but it's very important to understand the attitude, when you practice Heiho. Okay, so this is it for the chapter 1. See you on the next video. See you guys in the next video on chapter 2.
Please watch Toshi's samurai movie The Ronins. It's available on Amazon Prime Video. The main character uses Musashi's net Nichilu. There are so many sword fighting scenes. Also other samurai movie Adu Chi, The Revenge of Samurai, is available, too.